I have been offered in terms of another additional task. So I'm not sure if I should be taking this task because I'm not very confident, or I'm not sure if this is going to improve my performance, or I will be able to deliver this.
Thank you, Sam, for joining me with another coaching session. And it's very good that you are using the coaching knowledge you have as a certified coach and trying to apply it in your organizational setting. What brings you here tonight?
So, Miss, actually, I get a lot of opportunities in terms of training, managing training, and all of it. What
Mhm.
I'm looking forward is just to enhance my abilities or improve my performance itself. But
Hmm.
at the moment, I feel that I don't get this opportunity to improve, but rather
Hmm.
I get opportunities to do what I've been used to do. So I don't get myself to improve. I feel like that. So
Hmm.
there's another opportunity that they have been asking me to establish another training that reads certification. I have done
Hmm.
this, so I'm not sure if I should be doing this or how can I use this opportunity to improve my performance. So that's the question I'm having at the moment.
Okay. So what I'm hearing is no, you are always on the lookout for opportunities, and you like to take up these opportunities whenever there is an opportunity. But this time the problem is because you are taking up the opportunities and you are always willing to contribute, you are getting a task that you have already done and you don't feel that it will give you any improvement. Is that what you're saying?
Correct. So
Okay.
what I feel is when it comes to performance improvement,
Hmm.
at this stage, what should I be looking at, or how should I be assessing those opportunities if I should take it or give this opportunity to someone else so that they can learn and they can improve itself? Because at the end of the day, I don't want it's only me to be improving in the organization itself, right? There should be people who are capable enough. If I'm not here, they should be able to take over also. So that is also something I do consider. So I'm just
Hmm.
thinking about that also.
Okay. So what you are saying is you have two thoughts around it. One is that what should be the things that you should be considering whether this will be of any use for you, your personal improvement, and then also you are having the thought it's not only me who should be taking up the opportunities, but rather I should be building up my staff so that they would be able to replace me whenever I'm ready to move on. Right?
Correct.
Let's look at two perspectives here. I would say let's you have two thoughts around it. Let's look at the first questions. You are saying what should be I looking at if it will be of any improvement. So let's discuss about first your vision across the organization. You have been the head of training, and you already said that you have once taken up a project where you have to develop a program and get it approval. So where are you headed? What do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
So I think that's the issue. If I'm very clear about it uh, or not. So at the moment, I'm not sure if I have
Hmm.
though any opportunity to grow or what I will be doing in terms of growth itself, right? So at the moment, I would say this is the peak, right? There's nothing additional that I can do in order to move forward. I feel like that. So
Hmm.
that's one thing that is just stopping me from doing anything additional. But if I
Hmm.
look from another perspective, I see that whatever is there, we can try to improve it. We can try to make it more efficient, something like that.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
still, is it going to give me opportunity to grow? So that's the question that I keep on asking myself, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
But then again, what are the things that is going to help me to grow? I'm not
Hmm.
sure.
Okay. So again, you came up with two things. What was one thing you mentioned was that you feel that according to in the organizational setting, you have reached the peak level where you don't see in the organization there is no where you could go further than where you are. Uh, and let me ask one question around this. Does that mean when you think about your 5-year goal, you are thinking only you will be growing as a training and quality assurance professional? Is that what you are saying?
Yes, but the thing is, at the present setting, right? I feel that there is limitation or blockage in growth or new opportunities in doing something different. So that's what I
Hmm.
feel. But now
Okay.
I'm looking at other collaborations or something like that where I get to learn from other people.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay, so you're saying one thing you don't feel in the organization where there is further development that you can get at this level, but then you are looking forward towards collaborations as well. Let me ask you a question just out of curiosity. Let me ask this question. Why do you think that you have to be in this organization for the next 5 years? Because this one word that you have repeatedly said is I have reached the peak, and I don't think there's anywhere. But why would you limit yourself to only to the current organization?
Uh, Not limiting itself, but today also I was having a conversation with one of the manager itself. So he was saying his approach for growth or performance improvement was he reached a certain level, then
Hmm.
he jumps horizontally and then try to move. So I was thinking about that also. What could be the opportunities out there at current position, and then will it give me opportunities to grow? So I think, as you mentioned, there is something to be considered in terms of growth. Yeah.
Hmm. So let me just push it a little bit further because since we have been doing sessions and I know your capacity, how much you can handle, also how much you can grow and how much you can push others to like perform to be the best version of themselves as well. Let me ask you, if you are given the opportunity to grow horizontally, let's say from vertically you have reached the top as the head of the training and quality assurance. That means there is no place. First, let me push you towards the horizontal line where you are saying that what would be the opportunities that you have along the horizontal line. What would be the advantages that you will be getting in terms of what you had a discussion with one of your managers, and what is that you would be receiving there as if you grow horizontally?
So again, it will give me more opportunities to explore more. I think that's the advantage, and then learn. Already, I have got different opportunities to move horizontally, and then I was given opportunity to do different, not just ATC training, right? So engineering training or airport training, so those things. And then today I
Hmm.
had a meeting with the regulator also from a different perspective from airline operations.
Hmm.
If I go with this, it will give again an opportunity to interact with those people, a different set of people who has more regulations, I would say. So it could be an opportunity in terms of
Hmm.
exploring that area itself.
Hmm. Okay, I would like still to push you in this area, still to push you a bit because I know your capacity. So in terms of the person who is able to like take up difficult challenges and also prove to the organizations, what would be your growth if you take up the, let's say, the regulator thing, and then if you try to expand yourself, what is that thing that you can see? Let's slow down a little bit, think, take a moment to reflect. And the most important thing I want you to focus at this moment is think about from today, 5 years from today. Think about where you will be 5 years from today. Because I believe for you, you have reached the peak in the organization where you are, and you have been given your best shots always. So I believe in one angle, it's really important for you to get that clarity. where would I want to end up in next 5 years? Because then only the decisions you make today will be effective. Otherwise, just focusing on today or the current circumstances. Okay, the organization doesn't have a vertical progression. So let me go into the horizontal direction, and then let me go into engineering, regulatory, airport training. And at the end of the day, you might realize that, okay, I'm chasing the wrong goal. So it's really important for you to get that clarity of where I want to be in the next 5 years. So let's just keep this thing about the current issue at hand, and let's focus. What do you see yourself in
So
another 5 years?
yeah, when I look actually to look forward, I would rather say I would like to look back actually. There was one
Hmm.
person that I met when I came just to UAE. So he was head of training for one of the NSPs. And then he was very open about his vision and everything. And then I met him a couple of years back again. Uh, he went out and then he's one of the uh, very senior members in the ICAO now, is
Hmm.
training, doing trainings, auditing training centers and everything. So
Hmm.
from that moment, when I first met, he was like a role model for me,
Hmm.
someone I could look up to. So
Hmm.
that's my vision, to be in there. ICAO
Hmm.
as a global ambassador, looking at trainings and then into compliance as of that. So that's what I look up to, and then that's my vision.
Hmm. That's an excellent vision to have, because now I can see growth in you. Now I can see the expansion possibilities in you. All this time you are just talking about your limitations, but now that you mentioned about your goal 5 years ahead, I can see growth for you. Now let's come back to the current scenario. You know that you want to be the global ambassador at ICAO, and then you know you have a role model you can look up. You know that you can ask this person if you want to know, okay, how he did it, anything. You know this person. It's very clear. Now let's come back to the current situation where you are given an opportunity. You have to do this training, like you have to develop this program. Let's think about, reflect about the way you did the last program and got it certified. And what are the things that you can do to improve the process that you used? What would be that?
I think we learned a lot. We learned a lot in the last situation where we got the approval itself. So
Hmm.
it should not be difficult. I know the process itself because we worked very hard and we had a lot of communication with the regulator itself, and then we were able to understand very clearly what they
Hmm.
need. And then this one is also not very different from that. It's only in terms of getting the right people, resources that could be challenging. In terms of documentation, it's not a very difficult thing. But in today's meeting also, they were mentioning about getting the right people to do it, right resources, instructors, and all of it to establish the process itself, right? So that could be the only challenging, but he also said that he's willing to help to identify the right people to it. So I don't feel that very much challenging for me.
Hmm.
I feel it could be something. I felt that it was something very easy. So, as you mentioned,
Okay.
that's the challenging part. I need to feel that I'm growing in that area, right? So that's
Hmm.
the thing.
Okay, now, that's a very good point to highlight, but let me take you back to the process where you are actually developing it. Reflect back to that moment, that phase where you are developing and you are communicating with the regulator and you are constantly working on it, and to the moment where it was approved. Look at the phase. How much were you involved in your subordinates in during that time?
So I would like to highlight here something very interesting.
Hmm.
At that moment, we
Hmm.
were all very new. We didn't
Hmm.
know, there was nobody to guide, there was nobody to help, right? So now I feel that I don't need to do it. I can coach people to do it so that they learn about it, right? So that's how I feel it. I don't need to do it. So
Yeah,
that's
that's the exact point that I am coming to. Now that you have already done it, and then when the management gives you the task, if you take the opportunity, that you'll say that I'll do it. But your mindset would be not to do it personally, but you would coach and you would use your subordinates so that you will be doing like let's take up the scenario. There is a very good one with explained by Marshall Goldsmith, no, John Maxwell. He says the leader first show it, do it, he show it, he guide them. So that if we look at that one, you have already done it. So you know the process from A to Z, and then you can, now you are in the process. You take up the challenge and you take, okay, come, I'll show you how you will do it. Because initially when you did it, you will not be focused about showing what you are doing, but you would be rather trying to figure it out because you said it's very new, nobody was there to guide. So you would be always like focused on how can I do this? Like what, how would this be correct if I do this way? Will it be correct? Will they approve it? Or then you will go back and forth, and you will be correcting the course and also improving. So if this time, if you can take up the challenge and instead of you manually doing all those things, if you can say, okay, let me show it to you, what would be the gain or the perform in terms of your progress? What would be that your achievement in that case?
I think that's very important in terms of leadership, right? Making sure that your team is also growing. And then, as I first mentioned, I think that's something that I really need to work on, making sure that there is people who is capable to take this role when I'm gone, right? So I think that's exactly what I should be. One thing that I should be doing. Already, I have started with some of them. I think I could do more about that.
Mm. Yeah. So from what I heard was now that you are very clear that because even in the first sentence that you said that I want my team to be ready when I go. So that means it's very clear, you know where you are going. You will not be staying here. And as a leader, one of the things that you have to do is leave behind capable employees so that you will not regret. They will not regret, you will not regret, isn't it? So that you had that in mindset, but you are not clear. What would I say? The confusion in your head was, will I take it or should they be taking it? Now, if the task is given to one of them and they have to struggle like you did, but if it is given to you and you tell your subordinates, okay, come, I have this project, but let me give it to you because as the head of department, you can assign any work you want to your staff. With that authority, you can say, okay, this is the process we will be following. You have to come up with the ideas. I will always course correct in you and then help in you so that next time when you have to do this, you will be doing it perfectly fine without a supervisor, isn't it?
Yeah, agreed.
So
Yeah.
in that case, is your problem solved for you to, you are saying that initially you said that you are always eager to take up the opportunities, but this current opportunity that you got, you felt that you have to do a work that you already did, so it will not progress you. But with this, the mindset we just moved on, would you believe that you are progressing in your career?
I think it's a step to progress, yes, because already there's people. So as you mentioned, I will not regret leaving it because I know that there's going to be people who is ready
Mhm.
to take over. So I think
Mhm.
that should be my mindset, just to make
Yes,
sure that everything is ready, right?
yes.
There should not be a gap when I leave, or there should
Mhm.
not be. It should go
Yes.
on. Business should go on, right?
Yes, exactly. Because if you look back into the career, now you are almost 7 years, 7 or 8 years in the organization. From the very bottom to you have reached up to this level, and you have program which is certified by the like ICAO, and everything is established. Now, if you leave suddenly without training, like without handing over it properly to the other people, ultimately there is nothing good that you have done if you move on without training them. Because the first thing that management will see when you the gap. Okay, Isam was doing nothing here. He was only like benefiting himself from the organization and he has grown to this level. He has gone. But what about this? What about the organization? You'll get a real bad name there because you are
Hmm.
not able to do that. But now you take the current project, you work on it, and then you make sure that by the time they finish, one or two of the employees, they will be the next person who is sitting in your chair, comfortably understanding, doing all the things that you are doing at the level that you are doing as well. Of course, there is this saying. I heard this saying from one of the like technical person who left after almost 30 years of service. Everybody was asking this question: Who will be replacing you? And then different people had different opinions. And he said, nobody has to be me, nobody has to replace, but they have to grow on their own shoes. And they will have that capacity. So that's the mindset you should be. When you say nobody has to replace you, of course, you have been somebody who is working like giving double shot to make sure that everything is going perfectly. So one of your like junior staff might not be able to perform at your level. But for you to have that 100% confidence in them that they will do their best, wouldn't that be what the progress for you as a head of the department, who as a leader who is moving on to the next level?
I think definitely it will be. I think couple of 2 years or 1 year back, I said the same thing. I want enough people, or I want to be at least have two or three people who is capable to do the same thing because I won't be here forever. There should be
Hmm.
enough people who have it, and then I need people to be motivated enough to do it, not to my level, but even better than me. So that's
Yes.
something I already communicated with my team itself.
That's a really good thought. It's called the successive planning. When leaders are in the organization, they will always plan so that the junior team is ready the moment I fly up. So that because for you to have that vision and also for them to give that vision every week, every month, you have to renew that vision. Okay, who is willing to take up this role that I am filling currently? I don't want to block your progress, so I will give you the way, and you should be ready. Who is willing to take up the challenge? And this is successive planning, and then you will be testing who is the best one. So even that, when you are ready to move on, you can say, okay, from my one of the, three or four of my staff, this person has this strength, this person has this strength. I know this person can, because let's say you might be somebody who has been doing everything on your own. Like you can manage employees, you can manage the training, the quality assurance things, you can manage the technical aspects. But some of your colleagues might not be like as capable of as you to manage everything that you do. But you can say to the management, okay, this X staff is would be technically as competent or even better than me. The Y staff would be quality wise, he would be doing handling the thing, and this one. So the management will make the decision. You don't have to make the decision, this person will be going, but rather the management will make the decision. But then the management is also happy that they trusted you enough, and then you have contributed back to the organization by successively planning and training them.
Yeah. Just to clarify one more thing with that aspect, identifying people. So there are certain people that I want them to be performing. So in terms of coaching, if I want to make them successful or be prepared for that, what are the aspects that I should be looking at, or how often should I be coaching them to make sure that they are improving, they are performing up to the level that is required?
when it comes to first coaching somebody to as a successive planner, you have to always figure out like their vision, what their vision is, because it's really important. Let's say you can tell somebody who is below you, I'm about to move out, so you can I can train you to be the next me, and you can train him, but at the end of the day he might not be interested like you to end up in the IKEA as the training person, but he might have that interest. He want to be the CEO of the organization or the CEO of the organization. In that case, if you train him to be the head of training and the quality assurance and all these perspectives uh, fitted together, you have done the wrong person. You have trained the wrong person, because when he comes and sits on your chair, he will not have that drive that you have at this moment. And when he doesn't have that drive, because the organization as a whole, the performance, the quality of the organization will start deteriorating. But when you talk to each of these individual people who are your successive people, if you have identified what is their 5 year goal, then after that, identifying their 5 year goal, if you can, okay, identify what are their strengths. Now, somebody might be very good at quality assurance, might, but he might lack that, what would we say, the public speaking skills. Now, if we can identify his strengths and his weakness, only we could help him. Now, some people by default, they would say that I'm good at doing administrative tasks. I don't want to be the public speaker. I don't want to be the trainer. So although you are the head of training, you don't have it always. It's not mandatory for you to go out and do the trainings, isn't it?
Yep.
In that case, if he is not interested to become the trainer, if you push him, he might not enjoy the journey. So it's really important to understand first his goals, like his vision for the next 5 years, and then what are his strengths and weakness. And then when you are able to identify those weaknesses, you have to have a coaching conversation with them and see whether they really want to improve in this area, whether it's important for them to improve. Let me give you an example from one of the case studies I have done. So there is this one person who is one of the successive person who is about to fill a role of a leader going out. Now, from the very beginning, this person is not good at language. Now, when you become the leader, you are the person who is communicating to the outside world. So constantly he was being reminded that you have to improve your language skills, and only when you improve your language skills, you can take up a role like this. But then, although the directions were given, also the resources were given to him, he wasn't interested. But of course, he wants the role of the. So in that case, now if we can relate to what we were talking, what we have to understand is we are pushing a wrong button in him, because he doesn't have an interest to grow with the language. But technically, he is very good. In that case, he might not be the right person to bring and like train to fill your role, because it's really important. You are the person who is like the face of the organization. When you become in that level, and you will be talking about each meeting, you will be talking about all the outsiders who are coming, all the proposals that are coming, and then you can't handle the language. It's really important to focus on, because if he is not interested, if he has, so you can assess these your colleagues performance for the last maybe 1 or 2 years. What are their strengths, what have they been playing well, and what have they been playing well. And with that identification, also you can again talk to them like on a coaching session, like, okay, now it's really time that I have been talking about the successive planning from the last 1 year, 2 years I have been planning, but I believe now it's really you take this seriously, because I have a plan and I might not be here like whenever you need me. So are you really serious? And then if they like with that seriousness, maybe once a month, twice a month. It depends on how compatible. Now you would know. You have to always think about the level you are performing, and then you can also assess what's your performance. You will also have weakness. Although you are the leader person, although you are pushing yourself, you will also have weakness. And then you will have to compare their skills and identify, okay, who can fill the weakness within me? Is there anybody who can fill up the weakness within me as well? So in that case, if you have to speed up the process, the coaching conversations always become important. It should come closer, like weekly once or every 15 days. The occurrences should be closer. But then one thing we have to remember as well is when it comes to coaching, there is this understanding that for senior people in organizations, but this might be different in that case because it's going inside the organization. Let's say if you are the person who is being coached and I'm an outsider who is going and coaching you, in that case, you might not want to sit with me once a week because you are losing productive time. So this again, so the point I want to highlight is we have to identify, are we taking their productive time where they have to do certain work, and then because of this 1 hour they are allocating with you per week, are they losing their productivity? And also for you, are you losing your productivity if you are assigning this 1 hour? Let's say there are 4 people and you are assigning 4 hours for them. Are you losing your productivity? In that case, lengthen it. But then when you do the sessions, it should be very crystal clear. The objective of this session is this. At this end of this session, we have to come to this conclusion. That objectivity, that clarity should come. I think with that, it will be really good. Also, now that you are doing the successive planning, it's really important to talk to your seniors, because in organizational setting there is this you might be getting along with someone in the organization, but the senior management might not like certain things from these certain people. And although you train this person to be your successor, the management might not like him because of certain things that has happened in the past, because of the person's attitude. So these are really important things we have to consider. Once you identify the strengths and weakness of each person, it's also important for you to go and talk to the senior management and say that, okay, I have a plan that I would like to successively train these people so that whenever I move on, the organization will not go down, but it will still move at the current momentum. So I'm trying to build these people. Do you have anything for me? What do you want me to train? In executive coaching, this is one aspect we use. So when the executive coach comes, when the person, let's say, you are the manager and I have to be your executive coach. So before coaching you, I would of course talk to you, but I will also talk to your managers, the people who you are reporting to, and I will talk to them and I will ask, okay, what do you want to improve from Isan? What are the things that you hired me for? I will talk to that. And then I will talk to you. And what are the things that you wish to grow in terms of? And then also I will go and talk to the stakeholders, the people who are working with you horizontally and vertically. I'll talk to like below the people who are working below me. Also, I will ask them the question, what should ISAM improve? So that's the process we use in executive coaching. It's called the stakeholder-centered coaching because we include from the above, from the senior management, from below and horizontally as well. We use this process. So it's really important for you to have this kind of approach. And when you have that approach, also when you want to, one thing you can add to your list is when you want to train these people, let's say you select these 4 people, you got the management's approval, you can also talk to the junior people below them. Because for them to, if you have succeeded yourself as a leader, you would be thinking about also the junior people, because these people, the managers who you are going to train for your position, they might not be very connected with the juniors. Now, let's imagine the scenario where you promote, like you build someone from this team, X from this team to your position. So he is really good person. The management likes about him, and he is going to sit in your chair. But when he sits in your chair and when he has to manage the rest of the employees, he don't have that drive. So if it is his weakness, we have to identify whether we can correct that, so that we will be checking with by talking to the lower level staff. When we talk with the lower level staff, they will say, okay, X has to correct these things. And then when you plan, when you do the coaching session, you have to bring into all these components, and you can monitor the progress. It's really ideal to monitor the progress like once a month, like in terms of progress. That means, let's say you are training X to be to develop on his delegation skills. So he is not good at delegating at this moment. You want to develop on his delegation skills. So once a month, you can go back to these people who are below him and ask, how is his delegation skills? Me and him, we have been working to improve his delegation skill. Or you can ask, better than you go in and ask, you can ask him to go and ask. Because if he really wants to grow, in that case, he should be the person who is communicating. So in that case, he should go and ask, how do you rate my delegation skills? And when he asks that question, one thing he has to remember is, when they say you haven't improved still, he shouldn't be like judging them and saying bad things about it. But he can just, only the thing he can say is thank you for the feedback, nothing else. Because it's really important. In executive coaching, we use this as a tool. When you get the feedback, you can only say thank you. You can't say anything else. It's really important, because otherwise, if you say something on their face or you say something at their back, the next time when you go and ask for feedback, they will not give you the feedback. So it's really important to maintain that. I think with that mindset, if you go about from the top, from below, and strengths, weakness, the vision for each person, I believe you will be doing the work perfectly fine.
Yeah. I think when I did my diploma, postgraduate diploma in leadership, I did 360 feedback
Mm.
that also, and then
Mm.
lot of I know my weaknesses and everything. So one of our areas is communication. So that's one of the areas that I worked actually. The other thing that I would like to highlight is in terms of measuring the performance. So there
Mm.
should be some measures to indicate, right? People are performing, or I am performing itself. So a lot of time when it comes to performance, okay, it's this he's good. People find it very difficult, or my superiors find it difficult to find the weakness and then give a proper evaluation. So in coaching, when we are talking about coaching, how important is it to identify the weakness, or how can we identify? Because even the best performers, we need to coach them, right? So I feel that's important. So how do
Mm.
we do that?
Okay, so we follow a simple process in that case. What we do is we will ask them to rate. So we can use the Likert scale, like on a scale of 1 to 10. How would you give them? How would you rate? What would be your rate? We can use that as one thing. Also, the other thing we could use is, now when we use that scale on a scale of 1 to 10 and asking people to rate, we can always ask this question, the follow-up question. So this is what is important, the follow-up question. Okay, if somebody gives you a 7, now let's say you know that your weakness is communication skill. From the management, from below, everybody is working towards your communication skill improvement. So you can ask, how did I perform last month? Or from the senior management, they can have a meeting with you and they can say, I'm giving you a 7 this time. But the follow-up question should come up. Why not an 8? Or maybe why not 6, 7? Why not 6? So they gave 7. So you can ask, why not 6? Why did you give 7? When you ask why did you give 7, they would identify the exact areas that you have improved. But when you ask the question, why not 8? They would like identify the areas where you couldn't improve. So that question, the follow-up question is really important. And with that question only, actually, you know what is happening because otherwise it's just a number. But when we evaluate, even if somebody says, let's say in a meeting, you are in the general meeting and everybody was saying, okay, Isam is very good at communication skills. When they say this statement, the first statement that should come would be, could you please elaborate it? Could you give an example of what Isam did right? So that question would be a very powerful question. And then the person has to think, okay, what did Isam do right this time? It's really important to get that because that is the only thing. Also, when they say, okay, Isam was good because Isam did this and this during this week, I observed this. So in coaching, we always say that instead of Isam did this, I observed this. We say that this is my observation. I saw this. We use that technique, isn't it? With that technique, if we use, and then you could also ask the follow-up question again, a second question follow-up. Okay, you're saying that I was communicating well in this meeting. From the same meeting, would you be able to pinpoint anything else I could do better? That would again help because now you are challenging them to think. Now, if in the culture, organization's culture, now you are about to create that organization's, the coaching culture in your organization, isn't it? Now, if we have developed this culture in the organization, if we say somebody is good, you ask, okay, could you elaborate on how Isam was good? And then when they elaborated it, also we ask the follow-up question. Could you pinpoint in one area? Always when we ask for area for improvement, we should mention about one thing, not several things. Somebody can talk about good things a lot, but when it comes to area of improvement, we have to ask, could you mention one thing that is could correct in the next following week? So these two questions would be the culture where everybody will be using asking the same question. So it's not only some who is benefiting, but the senior manager is also benefiting from it. What the junior manager is also from benefiting from it. Also, the lower level, the entry level staff is also benefiting from it because everybody is asking the same question. If somebody is good, okay, what did he do to be good? And then also, could you please identify, pinpoint one thing that he can do better next week? And this way, it will become the culture of the organization where everybody asks the same question. And you can imagine the magic it will create. I think that's one of the most powerful thing we talk in executive coaching. When let's say you hire myself as the executive coach for ISAM, the head of training in FENS, and then the whole organization benefits from it because now like you will be going and around asking what did I do right last week, what is one area for improvement for me, and then your subordinates will also be doing that because it becomes a culture, isn't it? I think it's a powerful technique you should be bringing into create that corporate culture of coaching.
Mhm. One of the things that you highlighted was having these sessions, right? So now at the moment, what happens is, and then what I have seen over the past years in terms of performance management is they have the annual appraisal or annual measures, right? So a lot of time, what happens is when they go for these sessions about evaluating the performance of the staff itself, they don't remember what they did at the start of the year or in the middle of the year. What they remember is only what they have done. Okay, you did very bad in communication because I saw the meeting last week. They look into the last scenario or situation only. They don't look at the last 11 months, how good I have done, right? So how can we address this in when it comes? Or should the gap between coaching should be less?
That's why in a coaching culture, it's always quarterly. quarterly evaluation. And
Mhm.
when it comes to quarterly evaluation, we have to remember the manager's role, the supervisor's role is always daily evaluated. Because nowadays, earlier we would be asking somebody to come to office from 8 to 4, but now that mindset is gone. Now it's always like task. Okay, this task should be done within 45 minutes, and we expect you to do that 45 minutes. We don't mind whether you are working in the night or in the day. So in that case, whenever a task is finished, if it is a coaching culture, that's why we emphasize the importance of leaders, supervisors having the repertoire of coaching in their belt. That's why it's so important. Because if the leader or the supervisor, the manager has the coaching background, when the task is done, he will say, "Oh, Isam, you did a good job. This is what you did right, and this is one area for improvement for you on that spot." And all these things would be written, and at the end of the 3 month, at the end of the 3 months, you will, okay, these are the things we discussed during this 3 month, and you will have it noted. This is one area I identified for you in the first meeting, and we have been talking about this one, but up to today, you have not improved. Because the scenario you mentioned, like after 1 year, they just look back at you. You might be doing really good in all the other meetings, but during this meeting, now imagine yourself, you are also a human being. Now, you might have a bad day at home. You might have a bad day while coming to office. You might have a bad day with another colleague. So, because of this pressure point that you had on this day, you might be not performing your best. But if the management evaluates you based on this evaluation, what is happening there? The total performance evaluation process is rubbish, isn't it? It has no value. It is not contributing anything to the organization. Now imagine the demotivation. Now we are talking about the performance management, but let's look at the motivation factor of the staff. Let's say for you, you are the person who is from the beginning, you know this is your weakness, and because you know your weakness, you have been trying consistently to improve it, and of course you have been improving as well. But because your senior management saw you in the last meeting, and your last meeting got like troubled because of the certain outside circumstances which were like outside your control as well, and then you're not given the promotion, you're not given that pay rise, like how unfair it would be. That's why in organizations, like large organizations, they always try to do the appraisal quarterly. With that, they will have, because and it's always all the supervisors are monitored. I think we use this process when we are in Villa College, and we have constantly using it, and also the performance management system. We had a system developed, and in the system also quarterly we have to, the supervisors have to update it. So all the tasks are entered, and then it was updated, it was given and rated. It was really powerful.
Yeah. I think that's very important, as you mentioned, doing it while we remember it also, right? And
Yes.
then everybody, all the leaders, to have that
Mm.
skill in terms of coaching. I think that's what we want to create in organizations. That is where the organization is going to reach that excellence itself, right? So I think anything to add is in terms of coaching and performance improvement itself.
I would just to highlight this research. There was one research done by, can't remember who did the research, but there was a 700% increase in the ROI of the organization when the organization has coaching culture. 700% improvement in the ROI, return on investment. So can you imagine that pressure? So this is what we need in each and every organization, whether it is the government, whether it is the private small firms, or whether it is the SOEs, or the even large private firms, resorts, everywhere. We should have this coaching culture. It should be part. It's not like somebody is then like, okay, this person is a coach and somebody is sitting it there. It's more we have to think about incorporate when you become a leader, when you become a manager, when you become a supervisor. This is a mandatory skill because it's one of the 21st century skill, the communication, the critical thinking skills. So this should be incorporated, and that's how we grow as a like a whole. A holistic growth is approach through this method, I would say. Thank
I
you.
support, yeah, 100% to that. I have experienced it. I mean, when I look back, I wish I had a coach to guide me on those different difficult situations, right? I wish
Mm.
the organization has that opportunity or people have that opportunity to make sure that the path they go, there's somebody to support them and then guide them. So I think coaching and mentoring is especially important in organizations to, as
Mm.
you mentioned, to reach that return on investment to improve the performance of the organizations also.
Mm.
Let's ask the audience if they have any questions regarding this topic itself. Aska, enough? Any questions?
Nope.
Anything to add?
Now I'm just feeling really blessed because you're there as my coach, though. Really.
Now your voice is coming from very far away.
Oh, you did not hear me. I said I'm just feeling very grateful because you are there to coach me through it, Ted.
Yes, thank you.
Niaza?
This was a wonderful session, and for my key takeaways from this session, during the conversation, I heard speaking about the training the correct people. That is very important thing. As during the conversation, I got the importance of it because most of the time, what happens is we train someone, and within few days they'll be leaving us. So it is very important for us to ask them what their 5 years goals maybe is. So that is very important. And then the next thing was I forgot now. I noted something and now I forgot it. It was a wonderful conversation. Very helpful.
Thank you, Niaza. Iju? I think that's it. It was a wonderful session, Miss. A lot of takeaways, a lot of learning points. Definitely, coaching helps. I have seen it. I have witnessed it. It gives motivation to people just to reach out, having that conversation, right? So, for any organization, I feel that's something very important that every organization should have to improve and then motivate people also to make sure that behaviors are established for the organizations to flourish. So just to end the session, I would like to hand over to Dr. Shahina. Thank you, Miss.
Yeah. Thank you, Isam. Actually, you have brought a case study, I mean, a real example from your work culture, and it was like really, I enjoyed the session because we have identified several things that from an organization's perspective, from a leader's perspective, from a CEO's perspective, if we are thinking about our organization, these are the kind of conversations we should be having, and we have a real test of what it looks like. Because in every organization, always at every day there is somebody who is like stepping up, who is about to leave, and also there are junior staff who would be feeling this organization. One thing I remember hearing from Simon Sinek, he says when a junior staff like entry-level staff joins the organization, we give him or her training, just to make sure that the person is a good fit for the organization. But what we lack is when this person who is trained to fill the role as an entry person and the person really takes up, and then the person is promoted to the middle management level, most of the time we fail to give the necessary training and coaching to this person. And then this person becomes the supervisor or the middle manager. And what happens is, now this person is so pressured, like they become sandwiched, because from the management has a high expectation. Now you are the middle manager, you are the supervisor, you should be doing this one, you should be managing yourself. But this person hasn't had any experience to manage the people. And then the lower entry level staff, what happens? They have a high expectation. Now you are our supervisor, you should fight for our rights, you should be the person who is talking. But again, this person hasn't had any experience. So somebody to successively train and successively hand over this one to the next level, to take the employees to the next level, it is really important. The supervisory staff, the leadership staff, the managerial staff, and the top senior managerial staff should have coaching in their repertoire. It's really important. It without it, of course, the organization go on. But if you think about the Marshall Goldsmith's 21, he says there are 21 ineffective habits. Most of the time we are thinking about the effective habits somebody has to build on. But Marshall Goldsmith says there's a 21 ineffective habits that should be avoided by the senior managers. So sometimes you have grown up onto your career, you are the CEO, but you have to think about what are my ineffective habits, and then you should start working eliminating them so that you can go to the next level. So it's really important to incorporate the coaching culture in every organization. It's not one organization. It's not because we are this organization, we have this much money. That's not why like coaching is required. Whether you have a small budget, start with small budget, but include it. Like you have to have the human resource manager also think about, okay, these managers, these people who are in my organization, because at the end of the day, the important thing is what is it affecting on the bottom line. What is it affecting? What is the scenario? What is that image we give to the community, the customers, about our organization? And this can be achieved when we bring in the coaching culture in the companies. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Miss. Just before ending the session, I just want to highlight one thing. As you mentioned, I have been here in this company for 8 years, and then I have reached this level. I would like to highlight that why I am so successful, because I got that opportunity to be coached from different people. I said I wish I had people to coach me, but that was in different projects, right? But to reach here at the start, to reach this level, I got the opportunity to be coached from different managers. Actually, the person whom I took over, head of training, he was a great coach. He coached me over a period of 2 years, and then I was able to learn everything in 8 years. I was coached by safety people. I was coached by my present manager and the CEO of the company itself also at present. So I got a lot of people who helped me to reach this level. So I think that actually fast-tracked, and then I was such successful because they believed in me, they coached me, they mentored me to reach this level. So I think that's evident today that I was so successful in reaching this level.
Yeah, that's the proof that we don't need to do a research, and we don't need to say, okay, this person has done this research and this is the result. But like the evidence is in front of here because somebody was there to guide you, somebody was holding your hand and listening to you. What are your challenges? What are sometimes coaching is not about like a difficult process, but it's rather sometimes you have somebody to listen to you. somebody to validate your idea, somebody to say it's okay, like you have that skill, let's develop that skill. So it's all about what would I say, it's the holistic approach where we see life with, isn't it? It's not only okay, these are your responsibilities, think about this, do the responsibilities and focusing on the responsibilities. No, it's not more of a holistic approach, and you are the evidence that we need to say that somebody has to coach. And you're saying that, okay, because I was coached by these people, I was mentored by these people, that's why I'm who I am today. And I'm willing to pass it on to the subordinates who are working with me as well, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes, thank you very much.